What's up, Buckeye Nation? Welcome to the Buckeye Boys, where we talk about college football with real fans. I'm Melo, that's Dev, and that's what's up, Buckeye Nation? Welcome to the Buckeye Boys, where we talk about college football with real fans. I'm Melo, that's Dev, and that's Jonah Booker, aka J Book, aka world famous, aka international player, aka small and swole, aka you better be on your game if you want to have a debate with this man. What's up, fellas? How you guys doing? How was your days?
Day was good. Happy to. Hey, thanks for having me on here with you guys, and appreciate the opportunity to talk some Ohio State football. Anytime I get a chance to talk some Buckeye football, man, I'm jumping all over it.
Man, I appreciate you coming on in such short notice. That's real respect. We watch you all the time on Fridays over on 247 Sports and Bucknuts with Dave Biddle. You guys do an amazing job over there. So I wanted to salute you on that. Dev, how's your day going?
Blessed, man. Blessed day for sure. After having some time to think about what happened in Buckeye Nation, Seth going down, prayers out to him, all that stuff, thinking through the solution for it, man, I feel good. I feel good today, man. And also blessed, dude. I think we got to hear your introduction twice. I don't know what happened. I think you might have glitched, but we heard part of it and then it did it again. So we got to hear an introduction twice. Makes the day even better, dude.
So when I went on, bro, when I first started doing it, it didn't say you are live. I just jumped the gun.
Oh.
And then it said you are live. So I was like, oh, let me redo it.
No, bro, we heard you the whole time, dude. I loved it,
Oh.
though. That's great. Hey, that's what we do over here, man. But anyway, let's jump right into it, dude. We're going to have somebody else joining the show here momentarily. Buckeye Nation, you've seen him on here before. B. Moses is going to hop on with us, dude. He's got some heavy hitters in here tonight, so we got to be on our A game. But
Yeah.
obviously, last night we hit it on the show. It was not confirmed. We didn't want to confirm it. Actually, speaking of B. Moses, here we go. About to bring you on, dude. Now, wait till he's ready. Anyway,
Yeah, he's not ready.
we didn't want to confirm it on here, but Carson Hinsman did, in fact, tear his Achilles tendon in practice. So shout out to him, man. Love you, dude. Appreciate you joining this team. You are a rock of this team, man. Coming in, doing what you did, being the leader, dude. We appreciate you. It's sad, man. You became a Buckeye fast, a real Buckeye, man. You'll be remembered forever as a Buckeye. So we appreciate you, but suck, man. But as Ryan Day said, man, nobody's gonna cry for us out here, man. We're the Ohio State Buckeyes. We just got to move on to the next thing. So I want to start off. I want to bring up something because a lot of people, I've only heard a couple people talk about this, but I want to talk about the turf in the shoe. Now, let me start off by saying we don't know that this caused the injury, okay? We don't know that it didn't cause an injury, but I'm going to talk about it a little bit because I'm still fired up that we got this turf in there. So I did a little research today, on a couple studies that were done because the NFL made this a big deal a while ago. And so I want to talk about it, man. There's different studies out there. One of them says that the study they did out of Division I football players that play on specifically this kind of turf, they are 2.99 times more likely to experience a non-contact injury more than playing on grass. Another study I looked at said that in the NFL, the likelihood for a non-contact injury goes up 20% if you play on this field. And also in 2023, out of 20 national football players that had an ACL or an Achilles tendon injury, over half of them, 13 of them, experienced those injuries on this particular kind of turf, right? So just something to think about, man. Why did this injury happen? Why have injuries been happening for the past couple years? It feels like a little bit of an uptick in injuries to me. And you talk about, a perfect example was you look at Rodgers in the NFL, dude tore his Achilles tendon playing on the same exact kind of turf that we play at here at Ohio State. So they made that a big deal then. So wanted to bring that up now. Wanted to get your guys' thoughts on, obviously it's not a positive thing to focus on. We're going to move on to more positive things in the show, but I'm fired up about it. So I wanted to get your guys' opinion on it. So J Book, what you think about that, man?
This conversation regarding the turf has been going on not not just this year, Dev. It's been going on, say, 2 years, maybe a year or so after they put in the turf. Yeah, I remember specifically Dave Biddle and those guys over at Bucknuts. They asked Gene Smith about it several times because of the injuries. You and we talked a back show. There were so many times that guys were just popping up on the injury report, and you're like, I literally just watched this kid play a 4-quarter game. Like, how is he injured already? So the turf is a question. Now, here's the thing. We don't know if all of these, we don't know 100% if all of these injuries are specifically because of the turf. Here's my argument. Even if it is, or even if it isn't, it shouldn't be a point of discussion at a place like Ohio State. When you have the resources that this football program has, get the best stuff possible. Eliminate any possibility that key players can be injured, regardless if it's on the field, if it's on the practice field, indoor facility. Just go get the top of the line stuff and nip it in the butt and say, hey, we have the best turf that can be provided to us. That's my point of it. Like, if there's any question that it could be a possibility that the turf is an issue, just replace it. Just replace it. I mean, these guys are rolling over in dough right now. And there's been a lot of talk about, did they cut corners because the main turf was the same turf that they're using on the playing field, is the same turf that they're using throughout all of the practice fields. Just go get the top of the line stuff. And you mentioned Aaron Rodgers, MetLife Stadium, FIFA. They refuse to allow the World Cup to happen on that particular field until they actually rip it up and put in, I can't remember if it's natural grass or the higher end quality turf, but the FIFA is even saying, hey, we're not going to allow our guys to play on that. So if soccer players are saying nope, NFL PA saying nope, then at that point Ohio State should be following suit, if not after this year, but coming up soon. You just can't risk it. The stakes are way too high. You're talking about a multi-billion-dollar industry here, which is Ohio State football. You're paying $20+ million for the roster. Okay. This is big boy football here. You're going into the playoffs. You want to eliminate all doubt. And if it's going to be a turf that could potentially derail your season, then you have to make smart business decisions, even though it may hurt your bottom line pocket, because you're going to be paying millions of dollars to rip it up and put in the new stuff.
Amen. Yeah, I completely agree with you. Chad, I don't know if you could tell. I know you already see him. B. Moses in the building. Welcome, B. Moses. Appreciate you showing up again, dude. I don't know if you caught the tail end of our discussion there. I'm sure you did. Bring it up to turf, and I brought up some statistics. Wow, that was rough there on players playing on the turf. And, this is in, line with Seth McLaughlin getting injured. Not saying that that's the reason why or whatever, but it's weird to me that we seem to have an uptick in injuries the last couple of years. What's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, what's up, fellas? Always glad to be here with you guys. What's up, chat? I was trying to respond, but the chat wouldn't let me respond for some reason. It's acting goofy. And Jay Book, what's up, brother? Good to finally meet you, kind of.
Yes,
not
sir.
in person, but virtually.
Glad to be on here with you.
Yeah, likewise, man. Likewise. Appreciate what you do, brother. But yeah, so as far as the turf goes, like Jay Book said, because there's been some back and forth about, is it the turf, is it not the turf? Here's these facts to debunk it, or here's these facts to say it is. Like Jonah said, man, listen, we got bread. Like, we've seen enough to where we can go out and get the best, even if it's going to get some of that money from that big new money from Fox.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Then they can hand over fist over us. I'm just saying, like, we need to make sure we have the highest level stuff on every level, especially the turf. Now, Berm did say earlier that he heard Seth in Northwestern mention that his Achilles was tight after the game. That's what Berm said. So maybe the Northwestern turf started it and our turf did finish the job. I don't know. But I do think it's concerning enough to at least look into saying, look, what's his name? Ross Bjork. Listen, what's the highest level, safest, most proven, tested turf that's out there? Oh, that's it. Let's get it. Period.
Yeah. And even though we don't know, like you said, our turf, if it was Northwestern's or our turf, the cause of Seth injury, but we have seen enough of a documented history with soft tissue injuries that have happened within the program to make you take a pause and step back and say, okay, what's going on here? I mean, you look at last year and you look at Tip Trainum hurt, played in the game, come back hurt. Mayan Williams hurt. Just different guys throughout the last several years. I mean, at one point, what was the Georgia game? Mitch Rossi was a running back. We were so thin. Him and Dallin Hayden were rotating in because the running back room was basically depleted. So when you have something that's in doubt right now, I mean, the stakes are incredibly high. Like what? That's like saying, okay, I'm going to hire an entire workforce where I'm paying 700, 800 million dollars for an employee, but I'm not going to give you the proper tools for you to be successful at your job. I'm going to give you an old Mac computer that doesn't have enough memory. Okay. I'm not going to give you a travel budget to go and hit your territory like you should, because we're going to be penny pinching here. Like either you're going to do it right or don't do it at all. We're in the game at Ohio State to where you're going to ask the fans to pitch in on the NIL front to be paying $20+ million for a roster. Well, you got to have the facilities, which is going to take care of those guys. And to me, you see a lot of fans complain lately about the turf. I look at it as those are the fans that are trying to fight on behalf of the players to say, hey, these guys deserve better. Like, even if it's not the actual turf that's hurting these guys, let's remove all doubt and give these guys the best in the top of the line turf that is on the market, to make sure that when recruits come into the house to visit the shoe and visit the Woody, they look at it and says, these guys have by far some of the best facilities in the world when it comes to college football.
Yeah. Hey man, Melo, what's your quick thoughts on the old turf at the shoe, man?
I took my daughter there for a soccer camp, ID camp last March or February. The turf was really bad to the point where I just told her to make business decisions out there. I actually thought about holding her out and one of her teammates that went, but we drove from Atlanta, so that wasn't going to happen, and she wanted to play. So she played. She probably took off a little bit, you know what I'm saying? She didn't go full-fledged. The turf is definitely worse than every single high school football field in Georgia, period. Like, that's just what it is. It's really bad turf. And really, you need to fix it, not just for the football team. The women's soccer program also shares the same facilities. Like, you should do these players and these athletes deserve better. Ohio State brings in the most revenue in the entire country out of any school. So you have the money, whatever it's going to cost you, make that back in probably 2 home game days. So, I mean, you just need to rip it up, tear up that contract.
Yeah. Amen. Well, we got the negative.
Before we move on, I will say this. They asked Ryan Day about the turf last week, and I thought something that he said was interesting. He said, we've had the company come out and fill spots and patch up spots. When I heard that, automatic red flag to me. Yeah. And here's the reason why. When you got to continue to have the company come out at this point to fill in and do a lot of maintenance, to have to cut out spots and refill spots, that should tell you right now that maybe you should probably move on to something that's a little bit more reliable and more player friendly.
Yeah, I feel you. It's kind of like, I own a construction company. I will not install cheap deck boards on somebody's deck. Why won't I do that? Because they'll be calling me a year later to come out and fix it. Now, your only option is top of the line deck boards. You might put that on because, you go cheaper these days, man, it gets bad for you. But moving on, right? to answer some questions, right? That a lot of people have. A lot of people already know the answers to the questions, but we're going to dive into that a little deeper. Ryan Day had a press conference today, or his little drill he does. A lot of players spoke. Day spoke, and we got the answer to our question. And I love the answer. It was the answer that I personally wanted to hear. And what we heard was that Carson Hinsman's moving to center. Austin Saraville will be taking over the left guard position. Now, when I hear that, a couple of different things come to my mind. Number one, Carson was the starting center, right, all of last year. So he's got that experience. Not only that, but he sat behind Seth for the first 5-6 games of the season, studying how he was, because Carson was the backup center. So he studied, Seth taught him. So, and he also came in and has played beside him for 3 games. So you got that as well. And Austin Saraville was our starting left guard at the beginning of the year. So he's got that experience. He's been rotating in and out. So I want to get your guys' thoughts on this overall decision. How do you guys feel about it? Where are we at with this? B. Moses, start us off, man.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, you said it all right there. I mean, I know when Seth first went down, there was some people just flat out panicking. I heard some no natty, season over, like, people reacting. And listen, if we didn't have Carson Hinsman with a whole season of center reps, good center reps, playing at a high level at points at the center position, I would be a lot more concerned. But sliding him down the center with a whole season of experience is really giving me comfort. And then Saraville playing the amount of games he played also helps. He struggled at times. I go back and watch all the games. There was some points where he struggled, even against Nebraska. Right. But there was also some moments he played well. He actually played well in moments too. But anyway, that's reps. And I feel like these boys are going to step up, play for their brothers even more now that there's even more adversity. And I think they're going to play well. And also on top of that, Chip Kelly and Ryan Day schematically is out, to take some relief off, some pressure off of them. And shoot, if Will Kacmarek can get back, that'll help them boys out even more blocking, especially in the run game.
Yeah, no doubt. Jay Book, what's your thoughts, man?
I will say Ohio State is built for fighting with their backs against the wall. We've done it before, and this program is used to having to overcome adversity with injuries and next man up type of mentality. Now, with the center position, Seth was playing at an All-American type of level, so it's going to be extremely difficult to replace him. However, the center position out of every spot on the offensive line is probably the easiest position when it comes to where you can hide them. Now, the center does they are the captain when it comes to making the calls and stuff. But as far as the blocking schemes and everything, the center position, that's where Carson Hinsman, I think, where he's much bigger. He's more agile. He's shown that he was an Iron Buckeye in the offseason. I think it's going to bode well for him. I'm with B. Moses. I'm extremely confident in this offensive line. I think they're going to play well. Now, here's the key for me going into this Indiana game. 4.5 yards per carry. If they hit 4.5 yards per carry, I think Ohio State wins by 2 touchdowns. This Indiana defense, front seven, Mikael Kamara, he's an absolute dog. 9 sacks on the season, like 15, 16 hurries. He's grading out as one of the top defensive linemen in the entire Big Ten. If they can handle him, they're going to be able to do their thing. With Carson Hinsman, who would have thought going into the season that he's probably the most important offensive lineman as we get ready to head into the Michigan game, because his versatility allows them to do a lot of stuff. Now, if you want to look at the bright side of it, you got Saraville, Hinsman, Integra, all of those guys. That might be your interior offensive line starting next year. So those guys are going to get a lot of valuable experience right now playing next to each other. But I'm confident. I think these guys are going to play at a high level. The thing about them is they have a lot of pride. This is a prideful group, and they're not going to go out there without giving it their all. So I truly believe that at the end of the day, come this Saturday, we're going to look at this Ohio State offensive line, and we're going to tip a cap and say, job well done, guys. Job well done. Get ready for Michigan, because the animal that they're going to face next weekend is going to be much harder than what they're going to face this weekend, because when you look at Michigan, the strength of that Michigan's defensive line is their interior guys. Okay, those are first round, second round defensive tackles against Michigan. Win this first one this week, which is one game at a time. Play well, get out of there healthy. But I'm looking at if they can rush for 4.5 yards per carry, they'll win by 2 scores, because that means they're controlling the line of scrimmage more than any team has done against this Indiana team. Indiana's averaging about 78, 77 yards per game that they're giving up. They're giving up about 2.5 yards per carry. So if you're getting 8.5 or 4.5, 5 yards a pop, you're staying on schedule. Now they're going to have to start creeping those safeties up into the box. Once you start creeping those safeties up into the box, it's go time. Let's go, Jeremiah Smith. Let's go, Carnell Tate, because those guys are going to now get that one-on-one coverage on the outside, and that's when Will Howard's going to start to be able to cook.
Yeah, amen. Question in the chat. Ryan Day said Padilla was the backup center now, just to answer somebody's questions. Melo, thoughts on what we got going on the offensive line now?
Man, I'm not worried like the rest of these people. I like these 5 that's one of the best practices all
Hey, Melo,
in the beginning.
Try turning your video off. You're freezing pretty bad on us. It's making it hard to understand you. So shut your video off and give it another shot. Nah, I don't think that's going to do it. Can you guys hear him?
I can't hear him. What you think? Give me your take on the O-line.
Hey, Melo, we can't hear you, man. We're gonna move on for now. Hopefully your feed will get a little bit better. But yeah, so my take, like I said, dude, they were going back and forth today. I heard a lot of people, they wanted to keep Donnie and Hensman on the left side because they've been gelling, right? People keep saying that, gelling. But when you think about it, you want experience here, and we're blessed with the depth. Very surprisingly to me, right, to sit here and think and honestly say, I'm not that worried. I mean, it's a huge hit, right? You can't replace Seth. You're not going to replace him, okay? The dude was a beast. But it doesn't mean we're going to be far off on getting the same quality because of Hensman's ability, of what he did last year and what he did this year coming in as guard. And then you got Austin, right, who some people would argue should be the starting right guard right now. Like, I've heard those arguments that he's better than Tegra is at right guard, So, it's not like we're pulling somebody in that we haven't seen. It's not like we're pulling Zen in at tackle and have no idea what he's like and have to find it out in the middle of a game. So I like it. We got 2 practices to get in and get these guys in it. And better happen yesterday than today or the day before the game or shoot during the game. So, I'm just trying to be positive about it. You guys got any other thoughts on that?
Yeah, I just think that I would not be surprised if this offensive line plays extremely well, and we come out of this Indiana game feeling like, okay, those guys, they're locked in. Hey, it's next man up, man. Like B. Moses said, people talking about the season's over, everything's over. No, you're on scholarship at The Ohio State University for a reason. You can't just be coasting your entire career. This is the reason you come here. You come here to play on the biggest stage, on the brightest lights, and top 5 matchups with an opportunity to win a Big Ten championship. And now that your number is called, it's time to go. Like, I don't want to hear any more excuses about people saying, oh, the season's over with. No, these are scholarship players too. These are 4 stars, 3 stars, high 3 stars that's been in the program for years. So let's go, man. Hey,
yeah,
stop all the nonsense. Like, hey, put your mouthpiece in, strap up, and get ready to get a hat on the hat and move some people out the way.
I love it. B-Moses, what's up? While you're talking, I'm going to pull up Seth's picture. He's not off the team, guys. He's still on the field. He was at practice today. This was him today, man. So, B-Moses, take it away.
Yeah, for sure, man. Amen to all of that, Jay. But I just want to add this, to kind of piggybacking off of what Jay Book is saying. Two things. Number one, we have a reference point, which is at Happy Valley. All right. There was a lot of us, and I say us collectively as a fan base, wringing our hands. And listen, rightly so. Coming off that Nebraska game, and all, we didn't know exactly how it would look, but them boys stepped up and played their tails off. Did they not? With swapping guys out to to tackle, Donovan Jackson to tackle for the first time, all that. We know the story. They handled business emphatically. So a reference point for that. But also, we the press conference boys, Jay Book. This is what we call ourselves. Got a little pose and everything. We watch all the press conferences because we get all the good nuggets. The point is, if you examine these dudes, there's confidence, and it's not fake confidence. It's not coach speak, player speak. You can tell these boys are actually confident. And to me, like I said earlier, I wouldn't wish this on anybody, and I feel bad for Seth. With that said, I guarantee you he's on some Jay Book right now, like, hey, get after it. Like, so what? I'm going to be all right. You step up. And I believe that's what's going to happen. I believe these boys, they came back for a reason, all right? And these younger guys stepping on the line know that they are a key part of making sure they didn't waste their time for coming back to Ohio State. Them boys are going to be ready. They're going to be even more tight-knit and ready to rock for the brotherhood in the shoe. I'm telling you. And last week, I told y'all, I know our crowd gets dogged for noon games. This crowd is going to be lit versus Indiana. Watch what I say. And then, of course, against Scum the following week. These boys going to play. I'm fired up. You got me fired up, Jay Book. Let's go.
Hey, yes, sir.
Hey, it's time. Man, it's go time, man. People throwing in the towel and stuff like it's over. Like, yeah, it's a blow, man. But hey, next man up. It's time to step up, man. It's part of the game.
It ain't over at all, man. This is Ohio State Buckeyes. Melo, can we hear you a little bit better now? What's up?
He froze right now.
Dang. Melo, you froze again, dude.
He froze with a goofy face, too. Like, somebody take a screenshot of that.
Melo, dang, man. Yeah, Jay Book, I love it, dude. Same sentiment, man, dude. It's time to step up. Emeka Egbuka said today that this was one of the best practices that they had of the year, right? So that gets me pumped up, too. You see Seth out there on his little, like, this is Seth, man, just tore his Achilles, right? Look at him, dude. He on the practice field, dude. He's out there still being a leader, getting these dudes pumped up, bringing these young guys up. I mean, he's talking to a freshman right there. You know what I'm saying? So, bro, this is the Buckeyes, man. We got all this experience and these players coming in. Yeah, a lot of people get caught up on those rankings, Jay Book. I'm glad you brought that up. And there's example after example after example that it doesn't really matter how many stars you had, dude. You come in, you get the job done, get her done. So the other thing I wanted to bring up before I get into the stats of the Indiana versus Ohio State, Will Kacmarek, dude, am I freaking out to think that there's no way he would be back this early or what? If anybody knows a little more about his injury, can explain how it's possible that this dude can possibly play in this game, fill me in, please.
Yeah, I don't know if he's going to play, in this game, like how many reps he's going to get and stuff. I do think G. Scott's been playing some of his best football as a Buckeye. And Jelani Thurman's starting to come on here, but getting Will back is definitely going to help. The big thing about Will, even if you get him, partially back this week and he's full go come next week against Michigan, he's probably your best inline blocker out of the tight end. So getting him back will definitely help out with the blocking schemes, especially with some of those younger guys chipping, going out and in the flat. He did a lot of flat action and everything. So just getting him back is going to be critical when it comes to helping with the blocking schemes.
Yeah, Jay Book, how about you, man? Or B Moses, dude. So sorry, man. So sorry.
We twins, man. Jay. Nah, but first of all, Buck Vader, that Vader helmet, Buckeye helmet is fire. I don't know how you did that or how you got that made, but I love that. Yeah. So no, I totally agree. I mentioned earlier about Will coming back and helping out this line with blocking. Like Jay Book said, even if he just gets a few reps, because once you come back from injury, you got to kind of get back into game speed. You know what I'm saying? So get a few reps. You know what I'm saying? Get baptized again, and get ready for Scum next week. So as far as his injury goes, I haven't heard the specifics of his injury, but I never thought it was a season-ending injury. When it first happened, like the people I trust were saying, "Hey, he's going to be down for a while, but they're optimistic he can come back." And out of the gate, they were kind of implying that he was ahead of schedule. The good thing this season, there's been some ahead of schedule type healings. Like look at Lathan Ransom. They thought he was going to be out for weeks. So shout out to the training staff and these kids, because Ryan Day mentioned how hard Lathan Ransom was working to actually get back, because you got to do your part at the when you're with the trainers, you got to do your part with them and without them. So anyway, I think Ryan Day sounded optimistic during the press conference that he should be available. That doesn't mean he's going to play. Available doesn't mean he's going to play. We know that. But if he can get in there against Scum and even just the postseason, that is huge for this team with our blocking and running the ball. So I'm very excited about that.
Yeah. Quick side note, shout out Curse Designs, Tony. Y'all know him, man. I'm going to pull up a couple graphics he made today. We all know Devan Sanchez. He's got a little bit of a saying. So I found this one to be pretty good. I like it. The old belt to ass. We've got the Michigan player down there getting whipped by that belt. So there's one of them. And he's got this one, Ohio State, onward, upward, Buckeye boys, Ohio against the world. I want to bring this one up too, because this is what time it is this weekend. This is what time it is. It's onward and upward, time to beat Indiana, man. So we're going to dive into that a little bit, the nuts and bolts of the Indiana game. Now, we all know top 5 matchup, first time in history for Indiana to be in this spot. And then we got the old argument of they haven't played anybody. Why is that an argument? Because it's the truth. They haven't played really anybody. They played Washington of, 5-5, and then they went in there and played Scum, and they really struggled with Scum, 18 yards of offense in the second half because they had to face them big boys up front, man. So, but when I read these statistics, right, it makes you a little nervous, but remember strength of schedule, who these guys have played. So I'm going to read quite a few statistics going down through. I'm just going to read them all, get it out of the way so we know how each team compares. So third down conversions on offense, Ohio State's ranked 38th. Indiana's ranked 9th. So they're pretty good at converting third downs. Our third down defense is 17th. Theirs is 24th. Pretty even there. Penalties, we're only the 5th ranked, the 5th, penalized, fewest penalties in the nation. Buckeyes are. So that's pretty good. They're the 19th. Let's see. First down defense, we're both top 5. First down offense, they're 12th. We're 47th. Passing offense is right together. Passing defense, we're 6th. They're 21st. Here's where we differ a lot. Our red zone defense is ranked number 1. Their red zone defense is ranked number 87th. Red zone offense, both top 5. We're 1. They're 6. Rushing defense, we're 4th. They're 1st. Rushing defense in the nation. Rushing offense, similar. We're 40th. They're 47th. Total defense, we're 2nd, they're 3rd. Total offense, we're 17th, they're 15th. So pretty even team overall looking at this. The biggest discrepancy I see is red zone defense. They lack a little bit there, but B. Moses, if you can dive into what do you think this game looks like? What do we need to do offensively as a team coming out?
Yeah, I mean, I would say offensively, we need to run the ball, obviously, but I don't want to just line up and just, hand it off up the middle. I'm not saying we shouldn't do that at all, but I really want Chip to be in his bag to scheme them up and get our guys on the edge, depending on what they're in on defense, and just, put some constraint plays in to where it's just not, straight up, we just hand the ball off and they just key with no hesitation. So I want there to be a little bit of eye candy, maybe some orbit motion back there, maybe, some different things like that, but scheme them up to run the ball successfully, period. Because if we can get that going, I think once we get going with the run game, it's a wrap. Jay Book said 4.5 yards per carry. I like that. I agree with that. However, how do we get to that point? And so you know, I think scheming them up in the run game and not being predictable and things like that, I think is going to help first and foremost. And then from there, you know, we can throw the ball. But the question is, what's Indiana going to come out in? Are they going to do too high? Are they going to try to say, you know what, we're going to keep everything in front of us. We're not going to let Jeremiah Smith and Ibuka be, you know, it depends on what they come out with. Remember, they've been on a bye week. And that's why I say, what are they going to come out with? Because we've watched them all season, but they've had a whole week to install things or to put in wrinkles. So I'm very curious. They're going to come out with a bare front. You just never know what they're going to do. So, yeah, that's kind of my I can go on, but that's the gist of where I'm coming from.
Yeah, J Book, you hit on the offense a little bit, but kind of dive into that a little deeper. And I'm going to add 2 questions on yours. Do we need to see Will Howard in the run game a little bit more? That was asked in the chat. And
I had another one. I was literally just going to say Will Howard utilizing his legs. I think that's going to be key. You look at the big matchup against Oregon. You look at the matchup against Penn State. Will Howard was utilized in the run game there to kind of try to keep the defense honest there as far as numbers in the box. The one thing that I'm also looking at, and B. Moses touched on it, and Will Howard even said it yesterday in the press conference. He goes, we study, we watch these teams, and every time we come up against a team against Ohio State, they give us a different look. Like they're throwing everything in the kitchen sink at us. And he said, we expect that's going to happen again. Nobody wants to play the Buckeyes straight up. So they're always coming with something new. With Indiana been on a bye, they've had 2 weeks to prepare. So they're going to be throwing something different at us. As far as the offense here, I just think that the key to me is you got to jump out on them fast. Indiana has jumped out on everybody so far this season. They've yet to have to play from behind. The one thing that is one of my pet peeves when it comes to Ryan Day is they play with their food a lot early, and then they kind of turn it on later on in the game. When you're dealing with this Indiana team, you're at home. I expect the atmosphere to be electric. If you jump out 14-0 on them and that crowd starts getting into it and you start to feel it, you start to feel that atmosphere and you can feel the tension and now you start allowing that defensive line to pin their ears back. And now because the one thing that Indiana's been really good at this year is they've been very balanced. They've had a balanced attack. Now you start to make them one-dimensional. Now you can let Jim Knowles to start to dial up some heat, dial up some pressure. Let those defensive ends start to kind of pin their ears back. Will we see a jack package where C.J. Hicks is only going to be asked to get after the quarterback? If you jump out on them early, now you're putting them in a very uncomfortable situation because at the end of the day, it's Indiana. And Indiana has not been in these type of situations to where it's a top 5 matchup where they're down in a hostile environment. So if you jump out on them early, that's my key because what do we see against Northwestern? They milked the play clock down to inside 5 seconds almost every snap. Ohio State had basically one possession in that first quarter.
Yeah, it was wild, man. And the other thing to think about is I think it's about, we start running the ball. I mean, this is like a generic answer, but I think specifically in this game, once we start running the ball, it opens everything up. And what does it open up? More importantly for us, all our first round receivers that we have on the team, right? And I heard this somewhere, and I don't know if you guys know it or not, but is more than likely is the corner that's going to try to guard Jeremiah, JJ, is he 5'9"? Is he a 5'9" corner out there trying to guard him? So I saw that somewhere on the internet, but
he's a 5'9" corner.
Is he? So, I think we have the advantage there as far as, in the passing. I see B. Moses shaking his head. I don't know. What's that about, B. Moses?
That's trouble for that young man. Like he's the fish by default. I don't care how athletic he is.
Yep.
Like he it's a wrap for him. Like one-on-one, if he's exposed, if we are able to pre-snap, get him isolated one-on-one somehow against JJ Smith, especially JJ Smith. Shoot, even Carnell Tate, he's getting mossed. Like Period. So yeah, that's why I was shaking my head because that sounded delicious. No Diddy.
That's
Hey,
what I was
Dev,
thinking, man.
Dev, I got about 5 more minutes, man, before I got to hop on off, buddy.
Cool, man. Well, I'll tell you what, just give us a couple closing thoughts before you get on out here, man. We appreciate you coming.
Yeah.
I know everybody in the chat loves seeing you, man. We'll try to get you on here again. Appreciate all the insight, but just give us a few final words about the upcoming game.
Hey, go in here. If any old folks tell you to sit down in that crowd, you turn around and give them the double bird and say, hey, we're standing up the entire game. The atmosphere needs to be electric. The coaches, the players, they've given their calling card. They want the atmosphere to be electric. But when it comes to the offensive line, I'm truly confident that those guys are going to play well. There's going to be a couple growing pains early on in that first quarter. But if the Buckeyes can jump out on them early, I think they have a very good chance to blow this thing wide open. I've been following the betting lines here. 66% of the cash in Vegas is still on the Buckeyes. 99% is on the over right now. You would think with a big injury like that, with Seth McLaughlin going down, that the lines may move a little bit. It's going in the opposite direction. So the sharps are putting a lot of money on the Buckeyes right now, and they're not in the business of losing money in Las Vegas. So there's a lot of people that believe, even though Indiana's ranked top 5, there is a major, major talent discrepancy. And as long as the Buckeyes play their game, protect the football, and be disciplined, they should get out of this game with a 2-score win.
Amen, brother. I appreciate it. I feel you, man. All hope is not lost for the Buckeyes, 100%. You heard it from J-Book. J-Book, we appreciate you, man. Have a blessed night.
All right.
Go
Take
Buckeyes.
care. Take care, Dad. Take care, B-Mose.
Yeah. Yeah, B-Moses, I was kind of getting into the receivers a little bit because, like, even my first thought when I heard that Seth went down, it's like, I understand you're going to have to run the ball, and I still think we're going to be able to, but, I mean, just look at our receiving core and look at their secondary. You know what I mean? So just by that sake, if you roll Will Howard out of the pocket sometimes, which, probably expect to see with the new offensive line until they maybe can get some things figured out a little bit, he's shown that he can throw on the run. He's made a couple nice passes this year doing that. So you can see that, but dive into the defense a little bit, man. I think we got a pretty good example of what needs to happen. And what I mean by that is what happened to Indiana's offense when they played scum in the second half, right? Mm-hmm. What I saw was a lot of pressuring the quarterback, right? And it shut the run game down. They became one-dimensional and couldn't do anything. I mean, 18 yards of offense against the 15th ranked total offense in the nation, right? So it's where it starts, man, in the trenches. I totally believe it, and getting pressure on the quarterback. And I'm just so curious, man. We saw what CJ Hicks did in Northwestern. They put him in a little bit different position. I'm really curious to see if he's utilized a little bit more in this game. What's your thoughts?
Yeah, so defensively, Indiana is a heavy RPO team. They love RPO. You go watch them. They're RPO driven. And yes, scum. They got pressure on the quarterback, but they also got penetration on the run game, especially in the second half. They were filling those gaps. They were winning the line of scrimmage a lot of the time and getting in the backfield. So Tyleek, Hamilton, all our guys up front got a wreck shop first and foremost, because if they get that RPO game going, it's going to be really challenging to stop that because their quarterback, they're good at it. They're good. I mean, they don't have the talent we have, but it's their system and they run it well when the team is on their heels, especially the opponent. But with that said, I think our safeties will shine in this game because with the RPO game, sometimes depending on what you want to do defensively, your safeties coming up to fill gaps when your linebacker at times drops into pass coverage to defend against that run pass option. RPO is run pass option. I'm saying that because when I say that, some people don't know what that is, and I don't want to pretend that, act like everybody knows. It's run pass option. When they snap the ball, they make a read to determine if they're going to hand it off or they're going to pass it. So anyway, with that said, CJ Hicks, I really, really, really hope he has turned the corner because against Purdue, you know, he complained it to Austin Ward. Y'all all heard a little viral clip, right? That he said something to Austin Ward about put me on the effing edge or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
The problem is they did put you on the effing edge, Hicks, against Purdue. You had a wide open lane. You had a beeline to freaking Hudson Card, who became Michael Vick in the moment that you whiffed. You whiffed, bruh. And I love you, CJ, but it's just like, dude, how you going to make that comment after you whiff like that? Now, with that said, just wait. There's more. He came back against Northwestern and killed it. So to me, I'm like, all right, dude, have you turned the corner? Because if you did, look out, because that is another silver bullet in the chamber to add down the stretch to this defense. If he can consistently step up and be that weapon, because he's athletic, he's fast, he just needs to finish. So I'm excited about the potential of CJ Hicks, but the summary in 3 more seconds, the summary is win the trenches, penetration, pressure, and just be eye disciplined on the back end. We win this game.
Yeah, I feel you. I love it. He said Purdue's quarterback became Michael Vick.
You would have thought, like, dude, like you had a sack.
I feel you. Now that's what when I heard CJ make that statement, that was just kept flashing in my mind. I kept thinking, ugh. But then you watch, like you said, watch the Northwestern game. So yeah, there's potential there. But even so, right?
Yeah.
You watch what we did in the Northwestern game. Look at all the different packages of pressure that we were rushing Denzel and Hancock, and dude, it was getting wild out there with the pressure packages. So
right.
We'll see what happens, man. You wonder why they did that. And, they're putting so many things on the field for an offensive coordinator, specifically Indiana's offensive coordinator, have to look at and try to scheme around. So that's the other aspect of this game is, when you lose an offensive lineman like this and have to replace them, number one, we got Chip Kelly, right? That is very good at scheming things up and can help us in that regard. And then you got Will Howard, man, right? We've seen what he's been able to do with his legs. We haven't seen his full potential yet. It hasn't been needed. He hasn't really done it. We saw it when he was needed. Penn State game, he did it. It worked. We ran the ball for 6 minutes straight. For 6 minutes straight. You know what I'm saying? So, I would expect to see some more of that. But defensively, man, I think our defensive line is stout, dude. Right? Even with Jack is a powerful defensive end. You know what I mean? He makes a lot of good plays, doesn't always finish to the quarterback, but he's very disruptive. JT, I believe, is the 6th or 7th, leading sack defensive end in the Big Ten. He's got 5 on the year. So, but we've also seen his potential of what he can do taking over games. So I got to ask you this, man. I reminded people who Denzel Burke was, right? All-American freshman, junior year, only 0.88 yards per snap that he gave up. But this year, stats are a little different. And is that stat true going around that they've completed 27 of 32 targets on Denzel Burke this year? That I can't remember that in my mind. That seems a little bit blown up, but maybe that's the truth. But even so, I got faith in Denzel, man. I think that because Indiana has some good receivers. They have some receivers that have been in the game for a while. But how do you think that matchup's going to look with our corners specifically against some of their wide receivers that have been making some pretty crazy catches now, rightfully, on some perfect balls thrown to them by Rourke? But what's your thoughts as far as our corners matching up with their wide receivers?
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up. Real quick, though, because the chat has been consistently showing me love for my jersey. Thank you so much. I want you to check out the back. Can you see I got B Moses on the back.
Yes, sir, dude. That's fire, bro.
Nah, I mean,
that's awesome, bro.
Yeah, it's the number 7 is my favorite Ohio State jersey. So yes, I'm showing love to Corny, Ted Ginn, all the number 7s, Jalen Marshall when he flipped the 7. But anyway, thanks for the love. So yes, I'm glad you mentioned this because it's funny. In after practice, I forget who posted this, but I'm about to look at it right now. It was Stephen Means. I believe he's from Cleveland.com. He posted, he said, it's a little blurry, but Denzel Burke and Davison Igbinosun, or should I say Igbinosun, or whatever, they be butchering his name.
Oh, dude, that's wild.
On the broadcast are still out here after practice working on covering back shoulder throws. Okay. So that right there, yes, Chris Gamble, Heat. That right there, that's dope to me because here's the thing. I agree with you, Devin. Again, I'm not trying to make it seem like I'm John. When I say I rewatch the games, I'm not trying to make it seem like I'm John Gruden and John Madden mixed together. And I'm just the perfect X and O's guy. And I know some, the point is you sometimes have to go back and watch. And if you can get a hold of the all 22 copy, that's even better because you can see routes develop. You can see coverage better. And I'm able to do that. Anyway, the point is Denzel Burke, y'all not going to like me for this. Denzel Burke has not been nearly as bad as some of y'all think he's been since Oregon. Oregon, he was bad. Okay. Oregon, there's no doubt about it. He was bad. He got beat deep. He started struggling with his tackling. You could tell his confidence was hit. He just had an overall bad game. Since then, every little back shoulder throw that's caught on him is, oh my God, he's toast. When overall he has not played bad. He just hasn't. And yes, most of the plays that get hit against him are like really good back shoulder throws, which is very hard to defend for a DB. Now, with that said, you can still do better as far as being a little bit more in position to affect the catch, because you may not be able to affect the catch. You may not be able to stop the throw from happening and the slight separation because of the timing of it, and you as a DB not knowing when it's coming because you're running with the receiver. But if you are a little bit more in position, you can jar it out, you can defend and stop the completion. I think that is what they're working on after practice to try to be a little better in better position. So yes, I agree that I have confidence in Denzel Burke. He's a little inconsistent at times, but he's made plays, and I believe he's going to step up, y'all. Call me foolish. I just believe he's going to step up. Now, Iggy just needs to just control himself. I don't know if he has Tourette syndrome and he just has to grab you. He's so grabby and handsy. It's like, dude, you be in position and you still grab it. So hopefully them boys can be as solid as possible, but pressure up front is going to help our corners tremendously. So let's get it.
Amen. I agree with you, dude. I went back. I've watched the All-22 show. I'm a lot on Burke. And like you said, man, there's just a lot of the times I remind people, Burke's guarding the best receiver a lot of the times on people's teams, and there's always room to get better. But Coach Day said that his demeanor hasn't changed. I love that. Veteran player, been around the block a time or two. So none of this stuff's getting in his head. I love that. Same reason I love Will Howard, right? Dude's a gamer, doesn't let stuff get to his head, get him all hot and bothered. So before we get up out of here, man, I want to do a couple more things. Number one, chat, it's that time. Shoot it in your score predictions. The winner of the Northwestern score prediction, we don't have to give away a free shirt this week because our one and only Melo guessed the score to the Northwestern game was going to be 32-6. So he was only one off, got it pretty close. But chat, it's that time for y'all. Put your score predictions in there. Melo's got Melo, what did you guess? Dang, I forgot my other pad that I got written down on. Anyway, I guess 27-13. There's a couple other scores they're already taken. Let me grab this real fast. I think I got it right here. But B. Moses, score prediction, man. What do you think it's going to be? Bread chose 28-17. Melo chose 35-17. Yep. So those are taken. 27-13, 28-17, and 35-17 are taken. B. Moses, hit us with the score prediction, man.
I'm going to go 38-20. And they're going to get a couple field goals at the end. It'll be like we're going to jump out on them, and we're going to control the game most of the game, but 38-20 will be the final.
Gotcha. Cool. So what I want to do is just talk. I want to pick two players, two on defense, two on offense. And we're going to predict that are going to be players of the game, maybe add in a couple special plays they're going to make or something like that. I'm going to take the first one on defense. I'm going to start there. I'm going to pick one. I'm picking Sonny Styles, man. I think the dude's going to have another game with all that RPO action Indiana runs. Linebackers, they're going to need to play their game. I think it's Sonny's game, man. I think he's going to be the leading tackler on the team.
All right. That's a great one. He's been stepping up. Thank God. I mean, he's been playing well. I'm going to go with Caleb Downs. I think Caleb Downs is finally going to get an interception, and I think he's going to be all over the field. I think they're going to test him with that RPO game, and he's going to step up and be in position and be activated in my Jim Knowles voice.
Nice. I like it. My number two on defense, man, very solid player on the team, but I don't feel like he's had that game where he's just completely taken it over. It's time for big old Tyleik Williams inside. Dude, I feel like he's just going to wreck stuff. It's that time, man. Come on, Tyleik. You got it, dude. You got the skill. You got the power. You got the experience to just be an absolute monster in there. I'm not saying he hasn't been playing well and he's had his games where he's made his plays, but correct me if I'm wrong, but I just don't feel like we've seen that game yet of him just absolutely blowing stuff up time in and time out.
Yeah. So we doing 2 on defense, 2 on offense?
Yeah.
Correct? Okay. So look, I'm gonna go right next to Downs. I'm gonna go Lathan Ransom. I think them 2 boys is gonna have a big game because of the offense they're playing against. And what they're going to try to do, they're going to be active in the run game and in the pass game. So Lathan and Caleb Downs, them is going to be your cogs on defense on Saturday.
Nice. Karras got Downs and Burke. We got Sawyer with 2 sacks. Doug, CJ leads the team in sacks. That'd be great. I would take it. I would love it as long as it's more than 1, right? We don't just want 1 out there.
Right.
All right. So we'll switch offensively. You can start off offensively since I started defensively. So
yeah, this feels to me like rest in peace to the former announcer at Ohio Stadium. He used to be like, Emeka Abuka. I think this is going to be an Emeka Abuka game. I think he's going to get off this game. I think we're going to see some quick passes to him out of the backfield, maybe even a handoff. Emeka Abuka is my first one.
Nice. I like it. I'm going to go with one of our running backs. He's been tearing it up, dude. He leaps over people whenever he wants to. I think Trey Henderson, man, is going to have a game. We need him. We need one of them to step up. I just favor Trey in this scenario. I think he's going to lead the team in rushing. Might see him catch a few passes as well. I would love to see that.
Cool. My second one, I'm really debating, man. I'm going back and forth between Josh Fryer. I thought Josh Fryer played well against Northwestern. But you know what? Yeah, I'm going to go with Josh Fryer because I think we're going to try to run to the right a lot and lean on our veteran side. And I think he's going to clear the way and he's going to play well. So I'm going to go with Josh Fryer.
Bro, I want to pause there for a second because I brought this up a couple shows ago, but what about Josh Fryer, bro? This whole year, everybody doubted him coming in, was real nervous about it. They doubted him last year. I think the dude has exceeded expectations. You hardly ever hear his name. That's a good thing for an offensive lineman, not to get talked about that much, but I don't know. I haven't heard much love, much appreciation for what he's been doing this year on right tackle. And, I watched the All-22 in the film after every game, and I can't remember watching one where I was like, dang, Josh really screwed us up that game. Nah, bro, it hasn't happened, man. So solid dude, awesome pick. I'm going for it's going to be a sketchy one, and I think it's going to be a needed one. I'm going for Carson Hensman at center, dude. Okay. I think the dude going to show up, show out. He did it at left guard when he came in. He's got experience at center. Very, very, very smart football player. Very fiery. I don't know if you guys saw that video that Josh and Donnie and Hensman made yesterday. They posted it, but he's sitting there smacking his helmet, yelling in the camera. He just brings that fire, dude. And I know that's an iffy one because he hasn't played center yet, but I just feel it, dude. I feel like he's going to keep the momentum going from what he's been doing, and we're going to need it. So there I am with that, dude. So I think that'll about do it, man. Good show. Appreciate chat. Appreciate you guys showing up. Appreciate J-Book showing up. Melo. We're going to get it figured out one day for sure. I missed Melo the remainder of the show, but yo, Buckeye Nation, it ain't over, man. But before I give my closing statements here, B. Moses, the mic is yours to get these fans pumped up. Tell them what to do in Indiana. Don't be sitting down, all that stuff. Let them have it, man.
Yeah, man. Listen, y'all have a responsibility. I'm not going to the game this Saturday. I'm going to the Scum game. By the grace of God, I ain't got a ticket yet, but I'm going to go. But y'all better get up on y'all's feet and stop playing, man. Y'all listen, when the team releases a video the week of the game to try to encourage fans to get going, that says something to me. Number one, it says, hey, we really need y'all. But number two, it says we shouldn't have to do this. We shouldn't have to put a video out to convince you. So get it cracking and scream like Indianapolis is on the table at stake, because it is. Now, with that said, I think we're going to win this game, but we need this environment to be crazy. I know you're capable of it. I've been to the games at times. We can get loud. Do your job. So I'm excited. I expect you to. I think Indiana's about to run into a buzzsaw in the shoe on Saturday, and it's going to be beautiful. If this is my last word, I'll say one more thing. If not, I can circle back to what else I was going to say.
You could circle back. I gotta feed off that energy.
Yeah,
I gotta feed on that energy real fast, man, dude. Buckeye Nation, Friday night, get on your Twitter, get on your Facebook, get on your social media. Start then, dude. Start getting people riled up for this thing, dude. It's a top 5 matchup in the shoe, man. In the shoe. The team needs us more than ever. They had something happen in the offensive line. If we're going to sit here and criticize them when they don't do their job, we as fans rightfully cannot sit here and not do our jobs. That's the one thing we can do for this team. So if you're going to criticize them when they fail in their job, you better make sure you're doing your dang job as a fan. I'm not going, but I'm telling you right now, I'm going to be screaming from Florida. They're probably going to hear it. So my TV might get busted. I hope it doesn't. Might get busted out of excitement. You never know. So Friday night, start it, man, on social media. Get the thing pumped up, man. B. Moses, what else you got?
Yeah, last thing I'll say is me and the brother Curtis Grant, former captain of the 2014 National Championship team, linebacker Curtis Grant, and my brother Ron Lyles. We just finished a song in the studio a couple weeks ago. It's called You Know What Time It Is. I've let Dev hear it. I let Melo hear it. A few people hear it. I've been itching to get this joint out. Been a little delayed, but it's coming out this weekend. It's going to be available on all streaming sites. I'm trying to just let y'all know. I want y'all banging that joint. It's a fired up, Curtis Grant is on there basically giving a halftime speech for y'all to get lit. And when I say if you hear this man speak, or you hear this man give a speech, you will want to run through a brick wall. So just letting y'all know, as soon as it drops, make sure y'all go save that, play that, spin that, and get amped.
Yeah. So I heard it before Curtis got added to the song. So I'm not saying, if you want to send that to me, that would be great. If I have to wait, I'll most definitely wait.
I'm going to send it to you when you get off.
Yeah, it'd be great. But listen, if what I was about to say isn't the truth, I would just keep on moving with the show and close it out. But the song, like for real, it's the real deal, Buckeye Nation. It's fire. It's seriously, man. I could see it being played in the shoe at games in the future. Ain't no false hype here, man. I'm being serious. I personally loved it. I think it's going to be fire. So, yeah, man, B. Moses, we appreciate you showing up. Appreciate your insight to things. I know chat loves it when you come on here. If I'd have put it in a thumbnail, man, people would have went crazy. So we appreciate you. Appreciate you, chat. Do not forget to like and subscribe. Buckeye Boys is growing phenomenally because of y'all. We are a fan channel ran by fans for fans. We want y'all involved. We want to give back to y'all. So we've hit that threshold now. We can start taking super chats here in the next couple of weeks. So we appreciate any support. It's going to get put back into the channel for y'all, ticket giveaways, all that stuff, man. That's what we got to do here. So don't forget our November 29th Scum Rant. B. Moses is going to be there. It's going to be all kind of people there, man. It's going to be wild. So 6-hour stream. Let's see how it goes, man. So, yeah, man. Appreciate y'all. Love y'all. On that note, go Buckeyes. OH.
Ayo.